All right, cutting right to the chase. The Mustang's gone. And in its place, if you don't follow me on Instagram, this is my 1984 Volvo 244 Turbo. It does have an earlier front end on it. For those of you that know what an 84 usually looks like, this is an earlier front end. I like the round headlights and the bigger grille myself. Gotta have the Prancing Moose badges. I'm actually really happy this car came with them. Volvos are kind of the other white meat, even when it comes to other Euro cars. They're highly capable. This is a front engine, rear wheel drive turbo car. Gotta have the badge. And they just really kick butt at a lot of different stuff. I do have a good friend, Mason, you may have seen him in some of my other videos. He likes Volvos a lot. He's got tattoos on his arm. He's got 3 different Volvos. His parents all have Volvos. Follow him on Instagram. I'll put it here. Fun guy. And he's been talking about, trying to get me to get one for a while. And just the right one hadn't come up in the past when I was looking for cars. And right one came up. This one already came manual, of course. It already came turbo, of course. Which were 2 very big things that I wanted to not have to do to a car right when I bought it. I did the manual conversion on the Nova, which is hiding way over there behind the bushes. And, it's not really something that I would want to do again unless it was the right car. And I'm really happy that this car kind of checked a lot of boxes for me. It's already got some suspension done to it, if you can see. The blue springs are from IPD. You can almost see it in there. There we go. IPD, there we go. Makes a lot of different performance Volvo parts, and it also has Koni yellow shocks. It's got a few other IPD bits as well. Getting to the good stuff here. Ignore the ratchet strap. I'll get to that in a minute. This is a Volvo B230 FT. It's a 2.3 liter single cam 8 valve. Yes, that is 2 valves per cylinder. Old school. Makes them sound a little bit like a tractor, but kind of in an endearing way. This is a factory Volvo 940 engine from a 1994 940 turbo. Being a 940, they came with the bigger engine. This would have originally come with a 2.1 liter B21. This is a B230, the later 2.3 liter. Factory turbo engine, pretty stout. You can get over 300 wheel horsepower out of these things. It has, well, I'll say this, upgraded turbo and a good size front mount. Nice thick core, pretty good matrix size. Mounts in the stock location for the factory intercooler cars. Apparently these are some pretty sought after mounts. These are factory mounts. I'm going to clean those up, make them a little prettier, polish this up, all that. Electric fan, aluminum piping, silicone couplers, silicone hoses, AN lines on the turbo. This kind of got off track. So the turbo and the front mount install were done by a shop called YoshiFab, which is actually in Fallbrook in San Diego, north San Diego, almost Temecula, honestly. And it's run by a guy who does some awesome work. He specializes in Volvos. He does do a few other things. Check him out. I'll put some links, up here and in the description. Go check him out on Instagram. Go check out his Facebook, his website if you have a Volvo yourself, or if you're thinking of getting a Volvo. You can really see what kind of potential these things have. I got some camber plates. Even my buddy Mason does not know what these are from, and he's seen a lot of different stuff. There are a lot of things about this car that I still am not totally sure on. The previous owner that I got it from was not the one that did the modifications to the car. The guy that he got it from had YoshiFab put the turbo in, the intercooler, and that was about it. That owner did pretty much everything else. Got an HKS, a little bit of an old school HKS manual boost controller. You just kind of dial in your boost. I'm hoping to replace that with an electronic control unit soon. I do get a bit of boost creep on cold nights. It's set to about 7 to 8 psi right now. On cold nights, it gets up over 10, almost 15 if I let it. Talking about the turbo, it was advertised as a 16T, which is, you know, a decent upgrade for this engine. The original, I think, would have been a 13C, I believe. Sorry about that. Very busy street, as always. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, apparently, this is actually a Han Racecraft Super 16G. And what they do is they basically take what's essentially an Evo 8 turbo, a 16G, and they give it a bigger exhaust housing, or compressor housing, sorry, bumped up by 3 centimeters to a 10 centimeter housing, and a bit bigger wheel size. So this is a 60 millimeter turbo in a very small package. They advertise this turbo as topping out right at 400 horsepower, and I don't care who you are, but 400 horsepower on a turbo that big, I mean, look, like, this is my fist. It's not that much bigger than my fist, if you can kind of, that's pretty warm because I just drove it. It's really not a big turbo. This is a bigger than stock turbo, yes, but the stock turbo is very, very tiny, so this really isn't even that big. Like I said, it's a factory Evo turbo from the Evo 8 that's been modified and upgraded. You know, we got some AN lines and stuff, and, you know, some good feed line down there. You can see all that kind of stuff. That was all done by YoshiFab. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where he does really good work. You know, he uses quality parts and does very, very good work. As you can see, there are a couple things I need to address. May have been able to see there's a little bit of a leak coming from my oil cap here. The seals go bad on these. Very common. I do have another cap, and I can get another seal if that doesn't work. There's a couple little things you can do, aftermarket caps and such. I'm just gonna, you know, it's kind of very minor. The ratchet strap is due to the engine mounts. Volvos, well, the older Volvos are known for having engine mounts go out because they're the first generation of breakaway engine mounts for crash safety. Volvo pioneered crumple zones, breakaway engine mounts, 3-point belts, and the inertia reel belts. So every time you go to get your seatbelt and it doesn't come down, you can blame Volvo for that because they invented that. See, Volvo was very safety-minded because in Sweden there's a lot of snow, a lot of ice. So these cars are made to handle that. They know that you're going to crash. It just happens statistically. Crashes happen, either other people hitting you, you hitting other people, you hitting obstacles, sometimes obstacles hitting you, animals, trees falling down the road, that sort of thing. And in a place with inclement weather like that, where the percentage of that kind of a thing happening is much, much higher than somewhere like San Diego, you know, barely 3 clouds in the sky, they wanted to make their cars very safe, and they have built an incredible reputation for that. My buddy was telling me that the Volvo 240 was actually voted the safest used car of either this year or last year, from the 80s, 70s, 80s, you know, into the 90s. That's a pretty good reputation for a car. This is a factory turbo, and we believe it is a factory GLT, which is the top trim, which I believe is Grand Luxury Touring. This is a later steering wheel. If you follow me on Instagram, I do have a Momo tuner steering wheel that will be going in within the next week. Just waiting on some parts for that. Factory 5-speed. The 5-speed is very weak, which is why the boost is turned down. I'm going to be working with my buddy on a T5 swap like he did on his car, and then I'll be able to turn the boost up much, much higher. Factory leather. I'll get to that in a minute. The headliner's in awesome shape. Power windows. We have the power locks. You know, awesome feature. We got the radio, we got the gauges and such. Not all of them work, but I'm going to be working on those soon. Crank sunroof. Crank sunroofs are just like the coolest thing ever, you know, and it's just so much fun. Volvo build quality is awesome, and the practicality of a 4-door rear-wheel drive car is just so cool to have as a daily. I've only had it for a couple weeks now, and I'm just loving it. I'm super excited for this car. I've got some goals in mind. Initially, you know, I'll turn the boost up a little bit and make some decent power. The engine may or may not have some stuff done to it because it looks like the head was tanked at one time. So the head has been cleaned. Oh, this... Sorry, I forgot to mention, engine also has a cam in it. It has 550cc Mustang injectors, and it has the Bosch LH 2.4 engine management with a TLAO chip tune, which is known in the Volvo community. It's basically, you know, for all those 240SX guys out there, you know, like an enthalpy tune, or to a certain extent like a Bama tune kind of an idea. Basically, give them your specs. They build you a chip, and you plug it into your ECU, and it should more or less handle within a certain range what your engine is going to be capable of. And I don't have any complaints about any of that. The car runs great. Haven't had any engine issues except for maybe a little bit when it gets warm out and I kind of romp it on the car. It kind of searches for idle just a little bit. You know, it pops up to 2,000 RPM and back down a little bit until I turn the car back off, or off and then back on, and then it's fine. But that's really the only thing in terms of how it runs. Doesn't get hot. It's got electric fan. That seems to be working well. There's a couple leaks, you know, which is expected of a car that's 33 years old, and even the engine is as old as me, even though it's swapped from a later car. The engine's 23 years old, so I'm not sure how many things have been done to the engine. There's a chance the head is built up, or at least been rebuilt, or something. Who knows? If there's anything done to the bottom end, then it's capable of quite a bit of power. Gonna be looking into that soon. But for the meantime, got a couple different mods that I'm going to be doing, and look for part 2 of this kind of intro video, just because there is a lot of info in this video. I want to make sure that I get to it all and give you guys a better look at the rest of the car. There are a few goodies on this car. I keep finding little things on this car that I didn't even know it had. It wasn't advertised when I bought the car, and it's just a really neat little car. I got a great deal on it, and I'm hoping to have a great deal of fun with it.